Doesn't anybody believe me?
I want that room thoroughly investigated. Policemen on guard around the clock. No one will go in and out of that room unless I know about it. I want the guest list, the name of the caterer, photographer, and florist, and anybody else involved in that reception, no matter how remote.
Commissioner, I didn't shoot her.
I know you didn't, Charlie.
You do? How?
You just told me.
Oh. Is that all you have to go on?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not much, is it, sir?
You're her husband?
Her ex-husband, yes.
We did everything we could.
I'm sorry, Sergeant.
You send the necessary favors to my office, Doctor.
Sure. Well, I guess we'd better go down to headquarters and book me.
Sergeant Mack would never have you arrested.
Well, I'm afraid he has no choice, Mrs. McMillan.
That's right, Sally.
I was afraid he was.
I'll see Monica Fontaine, please.
I'm sorry, sir. She died a few minutes ago.
I bet this is the first time a cop ever turned in a report on himself. Well, there it is, sir, from start to finish.
Sure that's everything?
Yes, sir, that's exactly the way it happened.
Something's got to be missing.
It's all there, sir. I had invited Monica to La Palette for drinks that evening. You and Mrs. McMillan were going to meet me there.
I wonder what she's like.
What makes you think we're meeting a she?
Drinks at La Palette? Come on, Mac. That's a little steep for Sergeant Enright unless he's trying to impress somebody. He did say he invited us.
Oh, yes, he was very clear on that point. But he has reason to celebrate tonight. How often do you get named Cop of the Year?
Well, probably not more than once a year.
Well, you haven't changed at all, Charlie. And that's as depressing a statement as I ever hope to make.
Well, I'm sorry if I disappoint you, Monica. You look very good.
If I do, it's no thanks to you. I'm held together by a thread, Charlie. A thread. These last 15 years have been quite a trip. Quite a trip. But as rough as it's been, I'd take it over life with you again, sweetheart.
The Enright party. Yes. They are very much here, Commissioner.
Thanks, Alonzo.
You see, I was right. She is a she.
Look at that face. Not one real thought in it. Will you stop grinning at me, Charlie?
I'm not grinning, Monica. That's the way my mouth is.
I had forgotten how much I always hated it. And every other part of you.
Hello, Sergeant. Congratulations. We're so pleased. Nobody deserves an award more than you do.
Thank you. Commissioner, Mrs. McMillan, this is Monica Fontaine.
Commissioner of Police? Well, what is this, a cop convention? You know I always hated cops, Charlie. I can't imagine why anyone would want to give an award to one.
I suppose you're wondering who Monica is.
Oh, no, we'd forgotten all about her.
Wish I could. guess I never will. I even kept hoping that you'd come with us to the ceremony tonight.
You know, Sergeant, she doesn't seem quite right for you. How did you happen to meet her?
She's my wife.
Your wife?
My ex-wife, yeah.
I didn't know you were married, Charlie.
Well, I've been divorced a lot longer than I was married. Monica left me 15 years ago. I saw her today again for the first time. You know, it's funny. When she phoned me this morning, I thought it was to congratulate me on my award. But of course, she never even knew about it.
She live here?
No, Los Angeles. She came up here for the wedding of her niece. Our niece. I'm sorry I had to put you two through all this.
Don't apologize, Sergeant. I'm just glad you didn't have to go through it alone. You might not have made it to the ceremony in time.
Hey, that's right. The cameras are waiting.
Oh, no. I'd forgotten about all those cameras. I'd almost rather face Monica again.
You must be a very happy man tonight, Sergeant.
Oh, yeah. We're real happy.
Oh, well, how about letting us see some of it?
Oh, we are. I'm grinning right now, actually.
Oh, really?
That's my grin.
Poor Sergeant Enright. He's still in love with his wife. It's right there on his face, isn't it?
Policeman of the Year.
I'd say no, what makes you say that, but I'm sure you're gonna tell me anyway.
Well, why else would he want to see her again? Then she had to go and ruin his big moment. She didn't even congratulate him.
You know, it's a shame you're so happily married.
Gentlemen,
You are, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
But you have the makings of a great ex-wife.
Well, that's something you'll never know for sure.
Good night, everybody. Okay, come on, let's go this way. All right, fellas, come on, let's get a few shots over here. Excuse me, honey, we'll just step right back. Come on, you get over there. All right, get around here. Now, when you shake hands with them, go ahead. Shake hands, the two of you. That's it. All right, fellas, go ahead.
I really don't mind working this weekend, sir, if there's something I can do for you.
I thought your niece's wedding was tomorrow.
Yes, sir, it is. But I only have to put in an appearance.
I take it you're not looking forward to the festivities.
Well, I was looking forward to it, sir. I'm very fond of my niece. It's just that I'm afraid that a wedding will bring out the worst in Monica.
That wasn't the worst we saw last night?
Oh, no, sir. Monica was just getting started last night. You see, sir, Monica believes that our marriage is to blame for everything that's gone wrong in her life. She thinks I'm the one that stood in the way of her career.
From what I saw last night, I can't imagine anyone standing in her way.
Well, I did refuse to move to Hollywood, sir. We were both very young. She thought all you had to do was to move there to become a star.
So she went without you.
Mm-hmm. But I thought that once she found out what it was like, she'd come right back.
But how can she blame you for her failure? You didn't stop her from going, did you?
Well, she said that if I had believed in her talent, I would have gone with her. Well, if her own husband didn't believe in her, how could she be expected to convince strangers?
Well, she's gotten you to swallow that argument. She's a pretty good actress. Look, why don't you just go down to the wedding and get it over with? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't I drop by the reception, have some assignment for you, and get you off the hook?
Oh, I couldn't ask you to do that, sir.
No, you couldn't. That's why I offered. Well, I think we better find the cop of the year. Bigger office.
Oh, Uncle Charlie, I'm so glad you could come. I don't think I really would have felt married if you hadn't been here.
Well, you have all it takes to make it legal right here.
Oh, and we're so proud of your award. Except in my book, Uncle Charlie, you're cop of the century.
Well, I'd like to borrow that book when you finish reading it.
We'll see you later. Okay.
You look beautiful.
I guess he's had enough. We better get him out of there.
He hasn't been in there 20 minutes yet. You know, he's probably enjoying himself just because you don't like wedding receptions.
Sally, there isn't a man in there who's enjoying himself. Come on.
Well, After all these years, it must be Captain Enright, or Major, or whatever it is they call cops.
No, it's just Sergeant, Mr. Fontaine.
Just Sergeant. Wow. I always said you'd never amount to much, Charlie, didn't I, huh?
Yes, you always did.
Say, have you seen Monica since she's been back in town?
We had a drink together.
You drinking now, Charlie?
No. Not really.
There's just been no improvement in you at all, has there been?
No, sir, I guess there hasn't been.
Sergeant.
Commissioner, Mrs. McMillan. What a nice surprise to see you here.
I'm afraid I have some bad news, Sergeant. I'm going to have to pull you away from here. That is, if your friends will excuse you.
Oh, I don't know anyone here who'd miss him at all.
Mr. Fontaine, I'd like you to meet Commissioner and Mrs. McMillan. This is my former father-in-law.
Let's just say I'm Monica's father, huh? Let it go at that.
Yes, I think that's enough to say. I met your daughter yesterday.
And she certainly does take after you.
Well, I guess we better be going. I'm sure what work there is. Can't wait.
Oh, excuse me, I'm terribly sorry.
No, it's my fault. I walked right in.
Of course it was your fault, Charlie. And before you go knocking down any more professional men, let me introduce you to this one. This is Dr. Thursby. He came with Monica. And this doctor is Monica's first mistake, Sergeant Charles Enright. His friends are Commissioner and Mrs. McMillan.
Nice wedding.
Yes, it is.
Well, they're not guests here, you know. They're just collecting funds for the policeman's ball.
It's nice to meet you, Doctor.
Sure is. Oh, look it.
What's that? Oh, thank you, Mrs. McMillan. If I walk around with a feather on my lapel, people will think I'm a vet.
Well, I know you hate to leave, Sergeant, but we really must go.
Leaving so soon, Charlie?
Hello, Monica. Yes, we were just going.
Well, you can't go yet. I've been looking for you all over. Let's go someplace we can talk. You will excuse us for a moment, won't you?
I hope this won't take too long, Monica. I can't keep the commissioner waiting.
It's just like old times. Nothing matters but your work.
Let's have a drink.
Good idea.
Do you remember the day we got married?
Of course I do.
This room reminds me of our marriage. Drab, barren, lifeless, unused.
I was the one who wanted children, Monica.
Children, ha! You're interested in nothing but being a cop.
Let's not go into all that again, please, Monica.
Why? Because you have to go? Well, it's always been you, Charlie, hasn't it? Everything's always been more important to you than I. Well, go. Go on, leave. Leave me, just like you did last time.
You're the one who went, Monica.
I left because I had a career waiting for me, all the world waiting. Only without you, you know what they did to me. They didn't want my talent. Without you to protect me, they turned me into a tramp, Charlie. And when they were finished with me, they locked me up in a mental hospital for 3 years. 3 years!
I'm sorry, Monica. I didn't know.
Aunt Monica, Uncle Charlie, please open the door.
Every day. Every day when I was there, I thought about you, Charlie. I thought you'd come. I thought you'd get me, Charlie. You were too busy playing policeman. Cop of the year. Big shot cop of the year. A guy like you can be destroyed, too. You are not that safe.
Monica, you need a doctor.
I've seen doctors. Doctors can't help me. I have to help myself. How would you like to be alone, abandoned, have everyone point an accusing finger at you? I live for the day, Charlie, when you'll know what I've been through.
Monica, what are you talking about?
The cells, the bars, the disgrace, especially the disgrace. I want you to know the hell I've lived all these years.
Monica!
God, no, don't. Please, don't kill me! Please, don't kill me!
She's dead.
Stay out, everybody. Sally, call a doctor.
Dr. Thursby.
Stay back, please. Stay back. Get me an ambulance. Hurry.
What happened?
She... Somebody shot her.
This gun's been fired. One shot.
I didn't fire it, Commissioner.
I was wrong about you, Charlie. I just didn't believe you had it in you.
I didn't shoot her. Doesn't anybody believe me?
All right, let's go over it once more.
We've been over it and over it, Commissioner. I've told you everything.
Are you sure there isn't anything you've forgotten?
Well, if there is, I've forgotten it.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense. Nobody could have gotten in or out of that room.
Haven't you forgotten something, sir?
What's that?
You haven't booked your principal suspect.
Don't be so anxious, Charlie. I don't want your record to show you were booked for murder if we can avoid it. Let's wait until we get the ballistics report.
I appreciate that, sir, but anybody else would have been booked by now as routine procedure.
Well, if it'll make you feel any better, I'll book you.
Well, I don't mean to sound pushy, sir.
Well, let's wait for that ballistics report, okay? I can't believe that bullet was fired from your gun.
Then how do you explain the fact that my gun had just been fired? I mean, if I didn't do it.
Sergeant, whose side are you on anyway?
I am on yours, sir.
Good. When was the last time you fired your gun?
This morning at target practice. That's how I know the paraffin test will be positive.
Commissioner? Well, maybe I better come back when the commissioner's not quite so busy, or perhaps you could come to the lab, Commissioner, or maybe we could meet in a coffee shop.
Whatever you have to say, Sykes, you can say it in front of me.
Do you want me to read all that, Sykes, or do you want to tell me?
Everything's right there, Commissioner. Every question is answered right there.
Come on, say it, Sykes. Just say it.
Well, of course, we all knew the paraffin test would show positive.
Go on.
Sorry, Sergeant. The bullet that killed the deceased came from your gun.
Are you sure, Sykes?
Positive. Look for yourself. Check the gun filings, the barrel of the gun, the whirls, the swirls. We've never run a double check quite like this one. There's no mistake, none.
You do a good job, Sykes.
Yeah. I'm afraid so, Sergeant.
It still doesn't make any sense.
Well, you'll just have to book me now, Commissioner. Sergeant? I don't have anybody to call. 15 years in a cardboard box, and it all fits. Oh, those pictures aren't mine. They were hanging there when I first came to the office. I never did like them. Thanks for posting the bond for me, Sid.
That's one of the few things I can do, Sergeant. Look who's still waiting. I thought you were going home in a taxi.
Do you realize how many men have tried to pick me up while I was waiting? Right in front of the police station. You know what I needed, Sergeant, was a good cop.
You mean you've been sitting here all this time?
Yes, to give you a personal escort back to our house. I called Mildred. She's got macaroons in the oven. They're your favorite, aren't they, Sergeant?
Hey, that's a good idea. You can spend a night in the guest room and then in the morning have one of Mildred's breakfasts.
Well, that's very kind of Mildred and of you, but not tonight, thanks. I'll see you at the arraignment in the morning. Good night.
Good night, Charlie.
Good night, Sergeant.
Sergeant Charles Enright, Special Officer assigned to Police Commissioner Stuart McMillan, was booked within the hour for the murder of his former wife, Monica Fontaine. Sergeant Enright was the recipient of the city's top police honor, the Policeman of the Year award, just 2 nights.
Well, Sergeant, what luck finding you home. I was afraid I might be stuck in the neighborhood for a couple of hours by myself.
Oh? How's that, sir?
Well, I decided to try that all-night service station you're always recommending so highly. They're greasing my car.
Well, would you like me to give you a ride home?
Well, I thought I'd wait here, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. But I don't think I'm likely to be very good company tonight.
Drink up. After a couple of beers, we'll both be better company.
Well, sir, if you're going to stay here, Why don't you tell that other man to go home?
What other man?
The one outside, watching me. And you might tell him he's not doing a very good job. I spotted him when I was unlocking the front door.
Sergeant, I didn't assign anybody to watch you.
You didn't?
No. And I don't see anybody either. Are you sure you did?
Well, I know surveillance when I see it. Look, Commissioner, if you didn't assign somebody, who did?
Oh. By the way, got some good news for you. Mike Bolger has decided to defend you.
Mike Bolger.
Well, at least you could say his name with a smile on your face.
Commissioner, I can't afford his kind of defense.
We can't afford anything but his kind of defense. Mike Bolger hasn't lost a case since 1946.
Well, here goes his record. Matt, can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure.
I've been up with this case all night. And I think the only chance we've got is for him to plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter. That way, we might be able to get him off with a year and a half. As a matter of fact, with his record, I'm sure of it.
You want him to plead guilty?
Look, Mac, at my prices, I could stretch this one out so that even I couldn't afford me. Let's get it over with and save everybody.
Well, Mike, he's innocent.
All right, sounds fine. But remember, if he's pronounced not innocent, he'll get 20 years to life.
All rise. His Honor, Judge Clement Williams presiding.
I suppose, Sergeant, you are aware of the charges against you?
Sergeant Enright is aware of the charges, Your Honor.
Very well. And how do you plead, Sergeant?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Since we're dealing with a case where a man's reputation is at stake, I'm sure everyone is most anxious for an early preliminary hearing. We'll therefore set that hearing for 1 week from tomorrow, if there are no objections.
No objections, Your Honor. Will you set bail at this time, Your Honor?
No. The court will wait until after the preliminary hearing before entertaining any decision on bail.
May I address the court, Your Honor?
State your name and what capacity you wish to address the court.
Stuart McMillan, I am here as amicus curiae, Your Honor.
And for what purpose, Commissioner?
Your Honor, Detective Sergeant Charles Enright has served as special officer attached to the police commissioner for as long as I've held the post. I can attest to his outstanding character. His record will verify him to be one of the best men in our entire department. Prior to this incident, he was without blemish. In view of these facts, I'm asking the court to reconsider its position in refusing to set bail at this time.
I appreciate your interest, Commissioner. However, I remain reluctant to set bail because this is not only a capital case, but one which has already received an unusual amount of publicity.
Your Honor, let me assure the court that I will personally assume full responsibility for Charles Enright.
Are you prepared to post bond at this time?
I am. I have a bail bondsman with me.
Very well. Set bail at $100,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I know what you're doing, Commissioner. You're going after a whitewash, but it's not going to get you anywhere. I know how you cops stick together. You hired Bolger, you posted bond, and you'll do everything you can to get your friend off. But it won't work, Commissioner, because I won't accept anything but justice.
Neither will I. So what's your interest in the case?
My name's Alex Fontaine. I'm Monica's brother.
Well, I appreciate your desire for justice, Mr. Fontaine, so I'll forget what you just said, because it sounds an awful lot like a threat.
Don't forget it, Mr. Commissioner. Think about it a lot. Because if the law doesn't get Charlie Enright, I will. And no one, you included, is going to stop me.
Alex Fontaine is a former Green Beret, skilled marksman, and an expert in karate.
Well, he sounds like a walking weapon. Can't you arrest him for making threats like that?
Only if he puts it in writing and mails it.
Why don't you send him a self-addressed stamped envelope? You don't think he'll really try and hurt Sergeant Enright, do you?
Well, I'm worried enough to put a tail on him. And Enright.
Okay, what's the matter with the food?
Nothing.
Well, now listen, fasting isn't going to help anybody. Come on, Commissioner. At least enjoy your new terrace. Even though it did cost you more than it's worth. What's money, right?
Mildred, we were talking about Sergeant Enright.
Oh, yeah. Well, we all love him. But let's face it, he's done for.
Mildred!
Well, facts are facts. Who else killed her? I love him, and I'll miss him.
Mildred, he had no reason to kill her. He had no motive.
Oh, come on, Mrs. McMillan. There was motive all over that room. 15 years of bad marriage.
That's exactly my point, Mildred. Nobody kills his ex-wife after 15 years.
Look, don't waste time convincing me. Concentrate on the jury. Me? I love the guy.
She's just like a jury, isn't she? That's the way they're gonna be.
Afraid so. It just wasn't so airtight. There's got to be a flaw somewhere.
My father said there are no perfect crimes.
Yeah, just unsolved ones.
What exactly are you looking for, sir?
Anything unusual, Jensen. Anything unusual.
There's not much hope, sir. There's just no way anybody could have gotten into or out of this place. It's too bad. You know, Enright is a pal of mine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And a great cop. But I knew Monica from the old days. Of course, a guy doesn't like to tell a buddy, but she had a track record when he married her. If you get my meaning.
You make it very clear.
Of course, I guess she had it coming to her. It's just too bad Enright didn't plan it better.
I can't help it. Everything incriminates him. There's just no doubt about it. This bullet came from Enright's gun. Now, here's the autopsy report. Look at it. Just look at it. Take a look. Everything incriminates him. You don't know how badly I wanted to be wrong on this one, Commissioner, but you know me. I don't make mistakes. I'm just so thorough. I even checked her dress. Do you know why? There was a thread fragment on the bullet. I checked the thread to see if it matched the threads on the dress. It does. There's no question about it. I feel as though I'm convicting the sergeant single-handedly.
Sykes.
What?
Wait a minute. Take a look at this.
I've already examined it.
The hole's jagged.
So?
Enright uses round-bore bullets.
You're right, Commissioner. This should be a round hole. In fact, any bullet should make a round hole. Now, that's really very interesting. Let me look at this. Now, that's definitely jagged. Commissioner, this hole should not be jagged.
Check the wound again. Blood type. Check everything.
How can this hole be jagged? It can't be jagged. Yet it is jagged. Now, that's really very interesting.
What would make a jagged hole instead of a round hole?
It's not much of a clue, is it, sir?
Yeah, but it's something, Charlie. This is the first thing we found that raises a question. Up until now, everything we found incriminates you. But now we have something that's out of the ordinary. Something that indicates Monica couldn't have been killed the way she seems to have been killed.
Do you think a jury will buy it?
No, I don't think a jury will buy it, but it's a beginning. Ooh, corn and boiled potatoes. Why can't I ever convince Sally to have the both? You expecting company?
No, sir. I just love to cook. Only when I'm on duty, I don't have time to cook or to eat. Now I have plenty of time, and I'm not hungry, and this isn't a very good location for a restaurant.
Yeah, well, now that we've gotten our first break, everything will fall into place.
You really call this a break, sir?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I appreciate you stopping by like this, but a jagged hole in a dress isn't going to mean anything to anybody but us.
Do you happen to remember why you won the Cop of the Year award?
Yes, I do. I cracked the Levinson case.
And how did you do that?
I finally found a clue.
And now you found the clue to the Fontaine case.
It's nothing.
It's a clue.
It is something. You're right. First clue on the Levinson case wasn't much bigger. You care to join me, Commissioner?
I thought you'd never ask.
$3:30, reception begins. 4:03, Enright arrives. 4:06, Enright greeted by Vicky and Ted. 4:12, Fontaine talks to Enright. 4:20, McMillan's arrive. 4:23, Dr. Thursby introduced. 4:26, Monica asks Enright to enter locked room. 4:28, Monica and Enright enter room. 4:36, shot is heard. 4:37, McMillan enters room. Monica shot. Enright, gun in hand. 4:38, Dr. Thursby examines Monica, calls for ambulance. 4:57, Monica, Dr. Thursby enter ambulance. 5:26, Monica operated on, pronounced dead at hospital by Dr. Wilson. And it just doesn't get us anywhere.
Well, we'll just have to keep going over it and over it and over it.
We've been going over and over and over it, and no matter where we start, it always ends up the same. I'm the only person who could have killed her. I'm having a hard time convincing myself that I didn't.
You know, Sergeant, what we haven't done is give enough thought to the other witnesses.
What other witnesses? Monica and I were alone.
Yeah, you were alone when she was shot, yes, but not afterwards.
I don't see what you're getting at, sir.
Neither do I. Except look at Dr. Thursby. He enters our sequence of events here, and you bumped into him as you were leaving. Continues on through the sequence, only until here at the hospital.
How does that help us?
It's our second inconsistency. Thursby's a doctor, right? He examined Monica at the scene of the shooting, was with her in the ambulance, but not in the hospital. Now, it's standard procedure that a doctor who assumes a patient in stress never leaves the patient. He never even waited until she was operated on. He just disappeared.
That's right, sir.
What do you know about him?
I met him at the reception. That's it.
Then I think we should find somebody who knows this Dr. Thursby.
Sergeant Enright. Commissioner. Oh, come on in.
We're sorry to disturb you on your honeymoon.
Oh, that's all right. You're not disturbing us.
Of course not. Hello, Uncle Charlie. Commissioner, can we get you some coffee? Here, let me pour you some.
No, thank you. Your breakfast just arrived, so go ahead and enjoy it.
Oh, dear, I'm afraid the coffee's cold. Ted, will you order some?
No, thanks. We just had a big lunch.
Oh. Well, we're just about to order lunch ourselves. Somehow we never got around to breakfast. Well, you know how slow room service is. You're hungry when you order it, but by the time it gets here, you're on to something else.
We'd like to ask you a couple of questions about Dr. Thursby.
Dr. Thursby?
Monica's friend. We hadn't met him ourselves until the reception.
Do you know if he was the only doctor at the wedding?
Yes, he was. That's funny. Monica asked the same question.
I want an APB on Dr. Felix Thursby, probably of Los Angeles.
You know, sir, for the first time, I think we're on to something.
Good.
But what?
Well, Charlie, I sure thought you'd be in jail by now.
I'm out on bail, Mr. Fontaine. And I didn't kill her.
Oh, sure you didn't. Oh, say, will you get me that magazine with the pretty blonde on the cover?
I'm glad to see you're taking your daughter's death so well, Mr. Fontaine.
Oh? Well, my daughter died the day she married your friend here. Thank you.
What do you know about the man she was with at the reception, this Dr. Thursby?
Well, I know he's not a cop, and that's enough for me.
Are you sure he's a doctor? He left her at the hospital, never even bothered to check on her again.
Did he really? Well, that doesn't surprise me. Poor Monica, she never has had much luck with the men in her life. As for his being a doctor, I was talking with him at the reception about my son's radius. Alex broke his radius skiing, and it never healed right. Thursby thought I was talking about a leg bone. How's that for a dummy, huh?
Do you know where he lives?
Well, they was staying at the Lamplighters. I doubt he'd be there alone now. Monica was picking up the tab.
Movie star scrapbook. Interesting hobby for a man your age.
Yeah, isn't it? You know, actually, I picked this up from my wife. She and Monica used to paste these things in by the hour, with her telling Monica all the time someday it'd be her. Well, who knows? Maybe one of the newspapers will print a nice little obit picture. If they do, I'll paste it in somewhere near the bank. Why not?
Well, don't you see?
I haven't looked.
What? Oh, you're right. Take a look. Gunpowder grains all around the hole in the dress. They couldn't have been made by a gun 20 feet away. That does it.
Does what?
Breaks the case. If Enright were across the room, he couldn't have killed her.
Sykes.
It's as simple as that.
Sykes, the prosecution will tell the jury she was shot at close range and fell back due to the impact.
Sorry, Sergeant. I tried.
But I was 20 feet away.
I believe you.
Commissioner, they told me you were here. Lowen, right?
What is it?
Well, go ahead, Chapman. How much worse can it get?
You've been saying there's no motive. I believe I found one.
Motive? For me to kill her? What motive?
Sergeant, did you take out an insurance policy on your wife when you were first married?
Yes, I did.
Do you continue to make yearly payments?
Yes, I do.
Are you the beneficiary to the tune of $50,000?
I am.
The policy a man has made payments on for 15 years after being divorced. On the life of a woman who hated him. Would you call that motive, Commissioner?
That is a retirement policy for when she reaches 60. I kept up the payments because I felt that I owed it to her. So that she'd have something when she reached old age. I'd forgotten it had a death benefit. I really had.
You were the surgical nurse during the operation when Miss Fontaine died.
Yes.
Is this the bullet that was removed from the deceased?